Hi, Michelle Landry here. I am so happy to be with Michelle Gunn. She is a master at organization, and I need help because I'm not so organized. And when I know and I feel it like this avalanche of things that I need to focus on, and they're just hanging there, and I don't really know how to, like, the first steps to get it done, it really starts to bother me. And as I get more stressed about it, I can feel that it affects my body, my immune system. And I really want to learn from Michelle how to handle my life's stuff that keeps waving at me in a better way. So thank you, Michelle.
I'm so happy to be here and try and help with this. It's a crazy time for all of us, and I think there's a lot going on. There's a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety, and just a lot of stuff that's clouding our heads and making us feel like I'm a productivity geek. I really love that stuff, and I even found myself the other day sort of shuffling around my apartment, and then I was like, what am I doing? Why is this happening? And I realized it's because, of everything that's going on. So this is a really simple way of sort of organizing your thoughts, getting it off your brain so you can have a little bit of freedom there. What we're going to do is we're just going to grab a couple of pieces of paper. You'll need three.
They told me to bring some, so I got them.
Awesome. And Michelle's she's gonna show us how it's done. She's gonna do it on paper so you can see how easy it is. And she's gonna do it in marker just so that you can see it on screen, but obviously you could just use a pencil or a pen or whatever. And this is just a super simple way of getting your thoughts out. So on the first piece of paper, all we're gonna do is start writing down any of the thoughts that you have, tasks that you need to do, things that are sort of running through your head. You're just going to do it as sort of a mind sweep. And this idea comes from Getting Things Done by David Allen, but also from some other influences like Julie Morgenstern, Organizing from the Inside Out, and some other places. So, so we're just going to brainstorm or mind sweep really, and just capture a couple of ideas of things. We won't do a whole crazy list right now. Okay. You could sit down and do this for hours if you wanted to, but we're just going to, make a list of just a handful so that we can then organize it for you.
Awesome.
So,
all right. All right. And I'm just going to write them down and then I'll go over them, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
And so while you're doing that, I'll just mention that. So I find when I do this mind sweep, sometimes I capture really my next actions, oh, this is the next thing I need to do on that project. And then sometimes I capture things more in sort of the project mode. I might be thinking change a light bulb, right? I know that sounds simple, but in our GTD world, the way we sort of work that is we look at it and then break it down into steps, right? Because sometimes our projects say clean the garage, right? That seems oh yeah, I got to clean the garage, That's one of those things that stays on your shoulders, in your head, forever, right? Just because it's so daunting, it's so huge. So in GTD, what we do is we break it down. Just break it down into your next actions, and then it makes it easier to find the next step. So if you were thinking about it, you could actually sort of break it backwards, VE it down, or engineer it down, and you'd probably come down to something like, oh, I need to schedule the time, or I need to go get boxes, or I don't have garbage bags, or something like that. And then your next action item would actually be go buy garbage bags, go buy boxes, order them, whatever. All right, do you have a list?
I do. I could have gone on and on, but you said
I'm sure.
So here's my list.
Okay. All right. Organize my desk. Oh yeah, desk and files, right? Clean out storage, sure. Clean up my computer. Yes, that's always daunting, right?
Mhm.
Redo pantry. Okay, cool. So yeah, okay, great. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna take 2 sheets of paper and we're gonna fold them in half lengthwise so that they're nice and long. Yeah, like exactly like that. 2 of them.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be exact, just so you know.
I'll
we're
try.
just trying to create 2 columns. That's all.
Okay, I got
Right.
it.
Yeah, so you're gonna open them back up so they're flat. You're just really creating 2 columns. That's all it was. Yeah,
Okay.
perfect. So at the top of the one sheet, you're gonna write due on the top left.
Okay.
Okay, then the next page, the other page, not on the other side of that page, the other, yeah, the actual sheet. Yep, totally. So at the top of that one on the left, you're gonna write delegate.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then in the column to the right, you're gonna write defer.
On this page.
Yeah, on that page, right.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Done.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our Minesweep page, and
Okay.
we're just going to go through them one by one.
Okay.
So essentially what we're looking for is, and I'll explain these out. So do is anything that you are ready to get working on, right? Not necessarily right this minute. It could be like within this next week, something like that. Defer is anything that you're not ready to work on this week. So say right now, something on your list required something to be, that you had to go to the store. You probably are not going to do that with all that's going on in the world right now. So that one would end up on your defer list, right? Also known as someday maybe.
Oh, okay.
Right? That's a fun one.
Yeah.
And then anything that you're going to ask somebody else to do, right? Like it could be a coworker, it could be somebody who works for you, it could be a honeydew, it could be something like that you're going to put on the delegate list. So, and then there's a 4th option, which we didn't title anything anywhere, and that is just deletes. So if there's something on your list that as we're going through it, you decide to yourself, no, you don't need to put it on paper. If you decide that there's something on your list that you're like, you know what, I'm just not going to do that, you just put a strike through it.
Oh.
Very, very, it's like very satisfying.
Yeah.
Nice big cross through.
Got
All
it.
right, cool. So let's start with the first item on your list. And
Organize
it was
my desk and files.
okay.
And that is something that I want to do.
Okay.
And I don't need to go get anything.
Great.
I just need to sit my butt down and do it.
Awesome. So that goes on the do list.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And next item?
Clean out storage.
Okay.
I already know I'm putting that on delegate.
Oh, there you go. All right.
So I'm going to put Ricardo is going to clean out the storage.
Okay. Or you could just put the item for now, and then so if you wanted to later, you could look at the delegate list, and then you could decide who it goes to, and then you would let them know that that's now assigned to them.
Okay.
Right? Awesome. See, one thing off your list already.
Yeah. Then my next one is clean out my computer. I have to do that, and I do want to do that, and I don't need to go get anything for that. I just have to do it.
And do you have time in the next week to do it?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I have time probably for both of these things.
Great.
I'll do everything else first.
Perfect.
Yeah, these are kind of when you asked me to dump things, what came up is the things that are back there, because the other things I'm doing, right? Kind of the fun things, like I love to write, so I'm writing my blogs and my emails, and I love to shoot video. I mean, I have to do those things, but I'm doing it because I love it.
So they're not circling through your mind like, oh, I have to remember, oh, I have to do. So, and that's the beauty of doing a mind sweep, is really, it's all that stuff that your brain is trying to remember and remind you about. So it's like, don't forget, you need to go do this. Don't forget, you said you were going to do this. You promised so-and-so this, that's, and I mean, if the other stuff, like, shooting a video or something like that is on your mind, then yeah, put it on your list, because what I find is so like I do a weekly review and I go through all my task list. And if I find, and I do a mind sweep, and if I find that it's still on my brain, it's still something that's going on, that means there's probably something more to it, or I should start paying attention and doing it already.
Yeah.
You know? So, or I should resolve what it is about it that is still going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your fourth item?
Oh,
right?
redo the pantry.
Okay.
And I want to delegate that.
All right. There you go.
It frustrates me because it's not redone, but I'm not the main cook in the house. So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Got it.
All right, so that's everything off your list, right?
Yep.
Okay, so now you can take that first list and you can get rid of it.
I'm going to throw it away.
Yeah, exactly. Very satisfying.
Yes. In the trash.
All right, great. So now we're going to go to the list that has delegate and defer on it. Perfect. And you're gonna decide who's doing what. So it's required for both those I know.
Yeah.
So I would just note that.
Okay.
I would note it on there. You might want to, yeah, and then essentially now you're gonna make time to let him know that these two things are now on his list.
Okay, so that kind of like that, and then I'll.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah,
okay.
It's great. Okay, perfect.
I'm gonna set that aside then.
Okay, and if you had anything on the defer list, essentially that just means stuff that you're not ready to do now, and in like a week from now or whatever, when you start thinking like, oh, I should look at my list again. I've already done all the things on my do list. Then you would go back to that list, and I would do a mind dump, and then I would also use that list and do this whole process again.
Oh, yeah, got it. That makes sense.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, cool. So now you're looking at the do list, and it's got a couple of items, and it's got a blank side.
Okay.
So the blank side is for us to think of like, what is the next action, right? So what's the first one again?
Organize my desk and files.
Okay. So what is the next thing that you need to do? Like if I was watching you doing it, if you were to take us right now and we were to go and start doing that, what would it look like?
I need to take everything out of my inbox, which is piling up and cascading over onto my printer and the rest of my desk.
Okay.
I need to take it all off of there and like put it on the floor.
Okay. Okay. So so is that, and then what are you going to do with it from there?
And then I'm going to put it in piles of like, does it need to be filed? Do I need to put it in I do have a to-do file, but okay. I've been going so fast for the last month that I haven't done anything. Okay. It's just piling up. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So I would call that process my inbox.
Okay.
That's what I would call it.
Okay.
But if you need it to be more granular, you could say empty inbox. You could call it whatever makes sense to you, that also has to inspire you as well, right? So if process is too much of a processy word for you, which it could be, like I'm a nerd with the productivity, so that totally works for me, but it might be too much, right? So find right wording. And you also want it to be like a verb and then a thing, right? So verb, thing, right?
So I'm going to empty my inbox.
Great.
Because that feels satisfying to me.
Exactly. Okay, great. So then the next item on the do side is what?
Clean up my computer.
Okay. So if somebody was watching over your shoulder, what would be the next thing they'd see you do?
Oh, I need to go to my Gmail account and get rid of emails.
Okay. So how would you like to call that? How would you like to?
Clean out Gmail.
Okay. Let me ask you this before you write that.
Yeah.
Is this something that you've known you needed to do for a little bit but haven't done? Okay. So I would say let's use different wording than clean out.
Okay.
I would say, because that feels to me like it's probably what you've been saying to yourself and not getting it done, right? So, okay, let's see. How about read emails in Gmail account?
Well, I need to do that. That
Okay.
would be the first step because I've got a whole bunch saved on the bottom and then everything else tucked on top.
Right.
Okay.
So, or it could be, it could be if you wanted, it could be like spend 15 minutes reading Gmail.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
then it also makes it feel like it's not that much of a hurdle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
So that's it. That's pretty much it. Now you have your to-do list, right? And you have like your, so if you really wanted to, you could fold the paper in half so that you're only seeing the actual next action side. Oh, you know what? At the top of that, put next actions.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Because those are your next actions.
Got
But
it.
it is also helpful to have reference to what, because sometimes they can sound a little, so say you were making dinner plans.
Mhm.
What the next action might have been like, call so and so, right? So then you kind of need to marry it back to the project so you know what it is you were talking about.
Yeah.
But this will be really helpful, and then you could just post that wherever makes sense for you, on your kitchen, you know, or by your computer, or whatever makes sense. And
As
now you
long
have
as I
your,
know it's going on top of my inbox.
right, exactly. Yeah, so that's it. That's really kind of it. And I think it just, you know, it's just helpful to get that stuff off of your mind, right? Because that's part of, on top of all the anxiety, on top of all the fear, on top of everything else that's going on. Oh, and having all, you know, your entire family home that you love so much, but they're getting on your nerves, you know, like you need something that's going to help you, like, you know, I want to say, like get back to exactly what it is you want to do. That's going to help you sort of get grounded and centered on, okay, what were the things that I agreed to myself that I would try and you know, do this week. And then, you know, if you find at the end of the week you still didn't get to some of that stuff, you might want to just look at it and see why. It could be as simple as we didn't word it in a way that made sense to you or that inspired you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's really important. The wording of it can really be important. So anyway, I hope that helps.
It helps a lot, and I really appreciate it. I think it's going to help a lot of people. I know I already feel better because at least I'm looking at it and I'm addressing it
Yeah.
to this point. You know,
Right.
before it was just they were kind of in this like low level of anxiety was
Yeah.
happening because of these things on top of all the other stuff.
Yes.
And I could feel it in my body. And I'm just so happy that I knew that you could help me out. So I
Yeah.
ask you.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm really glad to help.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and if anybody wants to check out my website, if that's okay. Um,
That's what I was just about to say, but go ahead.
excellent. So it's michgunn.com. So it's my name short, michgunn.com. And I have more productivity stuff there. You know, it's about getting things done and also about using your Mac. So check it out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michelle. It's just been
Thank you,
a pleasure
Michelle.
to be with you, and I already feel less stress.
Awesome. I'm so glad I could help.
Yeah.
Yay. Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.